Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel. If you just joined us, this is TMI. You can call it this morning on ITV. You'll definitely be right on point. Well, today is all about multinationals exiting Nigeria, the implication, the impact. What are the factors that are making them to leave? Don't forget that a few months ago it was GlaxoSmithKline, 2 days ago Shell, previously some years ago it was other companies saying that the condition of doing business in Nigeria is not favorable. Some talked about security challenges, talked about naira, dollar disparity, talked about security, talked about so many other things. How can we really make Nigeria better, safer to make these companies to remain? With me here in the studio talking about this, political analyst and entrepreneur, business mogul, yeah. Join me to welcome Cosmos Osage. Welcome to TMI.
Thank you.
I appreciate your comment.
Good morning.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Well, when the news of Shell exiting Nigeria came to the fore, what went through your mind? That was 2 days ago.
Well, when you think about these multinationals, first of all, sometimes some people think to not understand what it means at first. First of all, the multinational corporations are corporations that exist in other countries but have branches domiciled in a third country, that is another country. And now, hearing about the news of these exits of all these multinationals, it's just so sad because when you see the exits, for example, it just rings in my head, oh, a lot of people are going to lose their job again. So it's something that calls for an alarm. And again, the multinational corporation, if you look at it in a definition, these corporations are able to at least generate 25% of their income in where they are domiciled. So you can imagine a company that gives employment to citizens, and now they are exiting this particular country. It means that a lot of people, the human capacity development is going to go down again. So it's so sad. It's just so sad.
All right. Now, thank you for giving that definition of a multinational corporation or companies domiciled in a particular country but have branches elsewhere. But is this a good sign or a bad sign for the country? Because over 30 multinational corporations have left the shores of Nigeria.
It's a very bad situation. It's there's no point at where even if it's not a multinational corporation, leaving your country where you are domiciled, it brings a lot of great disadvantage and problem. Because now we are looking at how a country is supposed to succeed and improve its economy, but here we are having those who were already in existence even leaving. So the unemployment is going to increase. Unemployment is going to increase. It's an automatic variation already, because now those persons who were gainfully employed in such corporations, they are going to be dropped. So you can imagine where an unemployment rate might be, for example, 30%, and the multinational corporation is dropping and exiting the country, it's going to increase it automatically. So that is the first point where it's so sad to hear about these multinationals leaving.
So because of the employment and unemployment rate, is that what you're looking at?
Now, aside from unemployment rates, in a business sense of view, if I was having an opinion to set up a corporation or a branch of my business in another country, and I've gotten the news that other multinational corporations are leaving where I was planning on going to, it's an off already. So we are looking at, if they've left now, others who were even planning, we are talking about investors, other upcoming investors, they will not have the idea to go there anymore, because it seems to be like there is something that is chasing everybody away from there.
But some of us, you know, that the reason why they choose to pack up and leave the shores of Nigeria is because of the advent of pro refineries in Nigeria, and of course the bringing back to life, so to speak, of the Port Harcourt refineries. Now, for the refinery on one hand, the Dangote refinery on the other hand, some are opining that that is one of the reasons why Shell choose to leave the shores of Nigeria. Do you agree to this kind of mentality, or you know, a figure of expression in terms of the exit of its multinational companies?
I would not totally agree with that.
Totally agree with that?
Yes, yes.
So in
disagree.
But in some ways you agree with it?
Yes. But now, if they've been in the country for decades, so if at this point they are leaving, we tend to look at what has changed. What changed? Now, the availability, first of all, of a multinational corporation existing here, there were others already on ground.
Yeah.
So I would not say now it's when the competition started. So we can't see it that, oh, it's because of the emergence of our refineries coming to light and all of that that is making them want to leave. No. We will look at the situation that has transpired before now.
Yeah.
For my own self as a business person, for example, I may not say I know when the problem started, but I know surely when it increased, when the problem increased, when the country was placed on a reverse jar, and automatically the pedal was taken off. So it's like a vehicle pushing down, running down the hill. So now, in 2016, if you could remember, if you're conversant with this, you'll find out that there was restrictions on Naira domiciled card from making international transactions.
Yes.
All over the globe. Now, do you know how this impacted me as a business person negatively? So it was so bad. Now, look away from that. You look at PayPal is a multinational corporation. It's a payment system. One of the largest in the world. Widely acceptable. But in Nigeria, it only operates a send only and not receive. Now, you can imagine a business that is striving to succeed, wanting to access Forex by paying for materials they're going to purchase outside the country. It's so difficult for you to get these items in. We are not looking at the clearance process and all of that to, you know, shipping cost. We are just looking at how do I purchase? Because now I'm not in this country. I'm away. How do we purchase? Now, when they put a halt to these Naira cards, it was so devastating that we couldn't even purchase as little. I myself, I couldn't purchase as little as a magnetic device for access control. It was so difficult. You have to start thinking and thinking and thinking. So when this problem started, was not now. So, but if you look at the build-up till now, it has, the problem has increased. It has multiplied.
Are you not talking about government policies? Is that what you're talking about?
True. That's where I'm heading to. These are government policies that has, over time, are not conducive for these companies or multinationals to strive. So it's not based on the fact that, oh, the emergence of other corporations that are coming up is going to be like a competition. So, oh, I think we'll not be able to say, no, it's not that. Not at all.
All right. Now, government policies on one hand, because you give an example of the Naira card and the rest of them, which really impeded business in Nigeria. Apart from that, some are talking about tax reform. Does it have anything to do with this?
When you talk about tax reforms,
yes.
I think looking at that, we saw the increment in VAT,
yes,
which was increased to about 7.5%. Now, these policies go through a process, which I would possibly not want to meddle into the process at which these policies are enacted, you know. But when you look at the charges in terms of taxation, every country pays tax as a business. You must pay your taxes. These are the right thing to do. So, but when you look at the atmosphere, which is usually not conducive for a business to operate, then the tax payment becomes a problem. So tax on its own end, it's actually not the factor for me, so to speak. Because if a business is in a good environment where it can strive better, the taxes will not be an issue to pay. Because it is what you receive that is taxable, not what I'm proposing that the business is going to make. Is what has come in that you're going to be taxed on.
All right. GlaxoSmithKline, 55 years or above 50 years in Nigeria, choose to pack up. Shell also going towards a century, 85 years plus, and choose to pack up from Nigeria. People like asking why now? Does it really have anything to do with the Naira dollar exchange or the values placed in Nigerian currency?
Of course, if you look at it, it's not far from the truth. It's the number one factor.
Number one factor?
Number one factor. Now, when it comes to you assessing the foreign exchange reserve, it's a very tedious issue here in Nigeria. You see, we are looking at it now from this end because we are opportune to have a Nigerian multinational, which is the Dangote Group, for example. We are opportune and we are blessed to just have that within us here. Now, if the business or the country is not favorable to a multinational corporation, you'll find out that at the end of the day, they will tend to think about taking the business elsewhere. For example, there was a time where airlines were, the ticket prices were so high, so high. And there were issues. What they were talking about was that they could not repatriate the income they generate over here in our country back home to their country where their headquarters are based. Now, if you invite me to come over to make money, to do business, and now this business is going on well, but I can't take the proceeds back to base, it becomes a very big problem. And that's where the foreign exchange comes into play. So it's so sad that all these are coming up at this time where even a new government has just taken over power. So I'm just watching and looking and seeing how possibly changes are going to be made to make sure that we get to where we want to be. But for now, I just think that truly the government is not ready.
It's not ready. Why would you say the government is not ready? After all, we have some policies that are, friendly to these multinationals, because things are beginning to add up, so to speak, in terms of international relations. So why would you say the government of the day isn't ready?
Okay. Now, when I say the government of the day is not ready,
yes,
I tend to look at it on the parts where these multinationals are having the challenges which they are having, which we all know that on the standpoint of view, the foreign exchange is first the #1 priority and problem. Now, Mr. Wilson, do you understand that, or do you know for a fact that if you are a Nigerian, you domicile in Nigeria, to operate a domiciliary account, I will have to open an account, go out to the black market to purchase a dollar, to deposit into my own bank account, the dollar account, before I can make any transactions. And here we have a government that says, oh, we want to unify this currency. We want to unify the black market rates to the official window, making it equal. But what has been done, it's not about saying it or say you do this, you do that, but have you acted on this? Now, till today, we still see that the dollar is still going up, and up. If you say you want to cut off the black market to be an official window, why not enable everybody to have access to it? And not some group of persons. So you see that's why I said
opening the markets.
Yes, they are not ready. If, for example, you can stay in your house and make a purchase online on AliExpress, for example, on any other e-commerce website, for example, with your debit card, and automatically the payment merchant or processor can charge you the equivalent of that dollar or the currency you're buying and convert it to a naira and debit your account legally.
Having the same value.
At least having the same value. That will mean that, yes, they mean well for us. Not me trying to make such purchase and I'll go out to source for it on a higher rate, come back, deposit it to make the payment. So it's funny to me.
That means you're losing in some sort.
A whole lot.
Wow.
That's why I said they are not ready.
Wow. Are you not saying that the black market is the problem, or the policies surrounding the foreign exchange, that is where the problem is?
It's a whole in total. The black market is possibly, to me, like a business for some group of persons. That's what I could say. Because if it's not, we are all seeing the solutions on the surface. So why look away from it? If it's not for some group of persons that are to benefit from the black market exchange, why do you place these policies and bring out these suggestions, and you are not bringing in the proper model to make sure that it works? So you tell me that a dollar is going to be, let's say, for example, 800 naira on the official index. And now I can't get it to purchase, even from the commercial banks. So you're trying to tell me to go out there to look for it. And I go out there to look for it, I'm at the mercy of whosoever is having it to give to me. So that's just the situation currently.
Wow, interesting. So about the exchange rate, he said that's the primary reason why they choose to leave the country. But in terms of Michelin and dollar, they talked about power. Yes. What's your view about that?
You see, power itself, electricity, it's also, on my own opinion, is the #2. Now,
no, foreign exchange, number one.
Yes,
power number
is
two.
number two. Yes, I was getting to that. Thank God you just mentioned it. Now, when it comes to power, you can imagine as small as any business trying to strive, you taking out more than 40% of your income to purchase petrol, to run your business. You know the current cost of a diesel now is about a 1,300 naira per liter for diesel. So now you can imagine fuel being 645, 650, even at that, these meters sometimes are not even
They are adjusted,
so
manipulated.
Good. Yeah. So now, if, for example, there was proper electricity, the power is managed properly, we won't have to spend so much in providing power or electricity for a business that is moving forward. And at that point, there will be more income. When there's more income, it means there's what? More tax. Because the tax are going to be taxed from what is from the income you get away from your expenses. So, but if I make, for example, 100,000 naira, and I'm taking out 40,000 or even 50,000 to run petrol that generated that money, you can imagine what is left. We are not talking about a payment of salaries and other expenses that may be incurred from such income. And now you're going to imagine what will be left to be taxed on. So power is a very critical issue that needs to be sorted out. You can see smaller countries like Egypt. When you look at, you see, most times when this thing comes on board, we want to emulate the Western countries. But sometimes I laugh when I find out that these politicians, they go out there and they are seeing these things, but they come back here and it's as if it's a whole new world entirely. So why can't you replicate what you see out there in your country? So it's a very big challenge for us, because most times I just tell myself, I say, if they can only but give us power, every other thing will be fixed. Just power, because it creates that enabling environment for other businesses to succeed. A lot of gadgets, a lot of equipment uses and runs on electricity. So how do you intend to manage that when you are spending almost about half of what you receive to run it?
So you're saying that multinational businesses in Nigeria, the operation starts and ends with power?
Of course. Of course. When we mention multinationals, we are looking at the telecommunication sector, for example, MTN and others. Yeah. They operate their equipment with power. I'm an ICT expert. A base station cannot survive without electricity. These base stations are responsible for delivering the service you want to cover those local and urban areas, the rural areas, pardon. So now, when you look at it, we are spending so much to keep these equipments, to keep this network afloat. Where do we get the money from? It will end in our care. Tariff will increase. Data plans will increase. The cost will increase, because they need to generate that money that they are using to keep the business afloat.
Wow. That's kind of, but don't forget, the federal government said they've been able to at least give license to some persons or some companies to generate power. Do you think that will solve this issue of power?
When you say they've given license, giving is one thing. Do I have the ability to is another thing. Are you making the environment conducive for me to be able to access this particular power you've given to me? So now, the giving of license is a different thing. But still, you see about the privatization of the power sector, for example, it's not like it's a win-win for everybody. Now, you are privatizing distribution, generation is not being privatized. So if you've given me power or license to be able to generate and run all this, when you bring out those policies, I'm not operating in that line, for example, now. Yeah. I have not seen those policies. But when you look at those policies, are they flexible? Are they easily accessible by anyone who wants to actually go into such investments? That's what we should be concerned about, not what they come on air or the policies that has been put in place.
It's like very difficult to trust the government of the day. So the issue is trust, because instead of giving the license out already, they've given it out already for these people to go ahead and start generating for us to have access to power supply.
Okay. You said trust. Yes, it comes to trust. from time immemorial, since I was a kid, all I keep hearing was, we'll give you good road, we'll give you power, we'll give you electricity and all sorts. But today, those things are not done. And I begin to imagine, if I was born over 30 years ago, and today, these things they keep promising is recycling and is recycling, how do you expect me to trust such government? So it still boils down to us trusting the process, trusting the policies, and trusting the implications or the applications of such policies.
All right. Well, we'll come back to you shortly. Let's just see what Abuja Network Center have in store for us this beautiful morning. It's a wonderful Thursday morning. Tolu, over now to you.